It's time for yet another review here on Theme Park Worldwide. In this video I'm going to be sharing my thoughts on Oblivion The Black Hole. It's located at Gardaland, which is in Lake Garda in Italy. Now Oblivion The Black Hole opened at the park in 2015 and it's actually a dive coaster manufactured by Bolliger Mabillard. And the first thing I'm going to talk about in this review is the name. Now I'm sure there's a lot of you who are watching this that are very familiar with Oblivion at Alton Towers here in the United Kingdom. And of course Gardaland and Alton Towers are both owned by the same company, Merlin Entertainments. Now the original Oblivion opened in 1998 and that was the world's first dive coaster. So all these years later the team at Merlin Magic Making thought, you know what, they're going to revive the story of Oblivion, however change it all up a little bit and freshen it up, make it more modern. And it's like a follow-on really from that original Oblivion storyline. And of course this opened in 2015. So in terms of the theme of the ride and the name of it, yes, you know, it may look quite similar to that of Oblivion at Alton Towers. However, there's a lot more into it. It's actually got a lot more storyline and it all comes together in this overall really nice experience and themed area. So, you know, that starts off with where it's located within Gardaland. It's right on the edge of the park and it looks over Lake Garda. So you get some stunning views from on the ride, as you'll see shortly with some on-ride footage. So yeah, this theme of the ride, you know, you've got this big sort of sinkhole really, you know, and it's sucking everything into it. You know, you've got all these different vehicles and buildings and it's all been sucked into this black hole. And of course, that's exactly where you're going to end up once you're on the ride. You're going to be sucked straight down into this black hole and that's the overall feel of it. So in terms of the storyline, I really like it. It's like this modern sort of facility. Of course, back in 1998, when the original Oblivion opened at Alton Towers, that was considered all very futuristic and very modern. However, this has sort of took it to the next level. You know, with Oblivion at Alton Towers, yes, it's got the orange, of course, on the restraints and the trains in general, and quite a lot of the theming around the ride. However, with this, they've took the orange, but then they've gone in with a white colour scheme as well. So you've got white and orange that come together with all the branding around this area, and it's like this modern sort of facility, you know, and I really do like that feel of it. When you actually walk up into the area, you've got various different paths that all make the way into it. The coaster itself, with it being coloured white, again, that also really fits with the overall modern theme of this ride. And you walk into the area and you've got theming everywhere, and we was actually there for the opening day of Oblivion The Black Hole and we was blown away with the amount of theming that there was around this ride. It's certainly a lot better themed than the original Oblivion at Alton Towers. So in terms of the entrance to the ride, you got this wonderful structure that's all got lights in, it's got the logo on there, it's all orange, you know, and it's flashing away, and that leads you into the first part of an outdoor queue line, you know, and with that there's not really loads of theming around. There's a few like TV screens telling you a bit of a story as to what you're going to experience, but then you actually head into this covered part of the queue line that's actually just in a tent, and I believe that was a former attraction at the park, and they turned that into part of the queue line for Oblivion The Black Hole. So you enter into here and you've got like all these security cameras and stuff watching you as you go in. You've got this tunnel what you go through that's got all LED lights. Absolutely incredible. You know, you've got like all these orange and white lights all sort of pulsing through this tunnel. Loads to look at. As you make your way around, you've got areas that have been projection mapped all the way around in there. Kind of similar to that of what you can see in the correction block of the Smiler, actually, at Alton Towers, you know. With this, there's a lot of like references to Alton Towers and X Sector. I mean, you've got to think the name The Black Hole, you know, that was, of course, a ride at Alton Towers, also that was located in X Sector. So it's kind of like, you know, they've took a lot of the inspiration from Alton Towers and made it into this more overall experience that I really, really like. What else? You're in the queue line, you've got all sorts of different lights all on the side, all with them directional arrows, you know. Of course on Oblivion that was the whole don't look down thing, you know, with like the chevrons all the way round. You got them orange chevrons and lights flashing all the way round. You go through some like different areas where you've got like vibrating floors, lights that are all going round, like you're being checked over before you ride, and then you go into this room that's got this big curved screen all the way round, and it looks very, very nice in there. Like I say, the overall decoration of that queue line is incredible, and that's also where you're hearing the first parts of the soundtrack as well. Not loads of it, but you're getting all different sound effects and sound bites in these different rooms, building up to when you're actually about to make your way out of that building into the bridge, what connects from the queue line over to the ride station. And you've got all the chevrons that are all flashing on the walls, and it's all sort of synchronized up with the music, and that's really building up the atmosphere. And you're going round, you've got this brilliant soundtrack, and then you make your way to this set of steps which you have to climb up, and it's all painted orange, and then that connects over to the station itself. And when you get there, you know, it's all very modern, very futuristic. Like I say, Oblivion Station was pretty modern back in 1998. It's certainly not that now. And this is a lot more colourful, you know, gone as all the greys and the black colour scheme. And you've got these whites, you've got these really clean walls with these orange chevrons and markers on, which looks really, really nice. And of course, then you make your way into the station area. You know, you've got this interesting loading system where it counts like the number of people through on these screens, which is interesting, but in terms of the amount of people that can fit on a train, the ride can run 3 trains. It's got 3 rows. Each row can seat 6 people, which of course means 18 riders per train. So, and they do get the trains out pretty quick actually on Oblivion The Black Hole. You know, when I've been watching it and waiting in the queue line for it on the 2 visits that I've had to Gardaland over the years, one in 2015 and one in 2019, you know, the ride's been running pretty well in terms of that. But yeah, you stand on this bridge just before you get into the station. You know, you look out over the ride and it just looks incredible with the white colour scheme. The white and the orange really contrast against each other, which is really nice actually. You know, you've got the white as this background and then all this orange just subtly throughout the area. You've got a drop tower, you've got like an observation tower. So, it, you know, it all fits with the colour schemes. It's beautiful, very, very modern, and it must be a nightmare to keep it as clean as they can do, really, with this. And yeah, in the station, you know, you've got all these orange lights all the way around, beautiful, all the way up in the ceiling. You know, it's got this very nice futuristic feel to it. And then, of course, you load onto the train. So, like I say, 18 riders across 3 rows. It's a dive machine that has got no floor as well. So, of course, the floor that's in the station all moves out. You've got the 2 like barriers on the front, 2 gates that have to open up as well because it's floorless. Doesn't make loads of difference, to be honest, on rows 2 and 3. However, if you're on the front row, of course, you know, it means it's better because you haven't got that zero car or you haven't got something in front of you like a barrier that's sort of blocking you in. It's literally just you and your legs dangling there looking out down the drop, which is fantastic. So one of my favourite parts of the ride, and something that we loved on the opening day, of course the soundtrack, but some of the sound effects. Before the ride was actually dispatched, it would go 3, 2, 1 launcho, or lancio as they say it. I don't speak Italian, unfortunately. I'm sure there's a lot of people do that watch, but my Italian isn't great, unfortunately. I'd love to learn though. It does 3, 2, 1 lancio, and then of course the gates open, the floor goes down, and the train dispatches. So you make your way out of the station, curve to the left a little bit, and then start to climb up the lift hill. And whilst you're climbing up here, you get some absolutely incredible views looking over. You know, it really is fantastic how you get these the views all across Lake Garda. It makes it for me. You look out to the left, you see the park. You look to the right, you see Lake Garda, and that's a 139-foot tall lift hill you're climbing up. You know, a pretty speedy pace actually. It makes its way up there quicker than Oblivion, Alton Towers, and you know, I've got more about that in just a second. So when you get to the top, you curve round to the left and you go pretty quick. With Oblivion at Alton Towers, they wanted to have that sort of, you know, it's building up the suspense. It was going round up the lift hill quite slow, clunking away, you know, on them anti-rollbacks, and then it got to the top and it actually connects to another chain that slows it down to go round the top. You know, and you don't have that on Oblivion The Black Hole, so you move around it quite quick, whereas the original Oblivion, like I say, you've got that suspense building up, so you do go a bit slower. So I think that does add up more of a feel. However, with this, it's not supposed to be another Oblivion. You know, it's a follow-up of the story, an expansion of it, more than just trying to be another Oblivion, if that makes sense. And yeah, you've gone round to the left and then you make your way onto this holding brake. You hold there for around 3 seconds, give or take. You know, it's never normally exact, but you know, give or take, you hold there for that amount of time. And again, you get an incredible view. It's definitely brilliant on the front row there, because like I say, with it being the floorless style trains, you know, you're not looking at anything. There's no bar in front of you or anything like that. You are just looking straight down at this huge drop and into the black hole itself that's actually 155 feet down below you, and you're looking straight down. Now, the drop is brilliant on the front row, but on the back row, you get pulled off it. I mean, much like you do when you go on any dive coaster, the pull on the back row is great, but on Oblivion The Black Hole, you know, that pull is incredible going off the drop. And there you go, 87-degree drop straight down into the black hole. Of course, there is a big tunnel, and you've got all this steaming around the side that's great. Like I say, it's all being sucked into this black hole. It's this wormhole, you know, that's sucking everything in. You've got like this van that's going in there, like a windmill, you know, it's loads of little things that make it for me, you know, and they've put all these little paths in at the side, so it means that you can get really close to it, and all the theming around there. And they've got like this Wild West area, and as it gets closer towards the black hole, it all sort of disintegrates, you know, it's got that sort of feel, and you can stand there and look straight up. But yeah, once you've come out of this tunnel, you're straight up into an Immelman, which is the first inversion on the ride, which is incredible because you've just gone down this drop, you're into this hole, you know, for about a second. You just pass straight through all the strobes and the mist, and before you know it, you're straight up into this Immelman, and you're upside down. Like, you know, that really quick transition is what makes it for me. Straight up into that, no messing. You know, and it's a really good inversion on that. It takes it with quite some speed going up into it, and then of course it twists straight back out of the Immelman, where it heads down a little bit of a drop and through another little near miss element there as well. And that area is the heaviest themed in the whole part of the ride area, to be honest, because you've got like the van round there, and you know, it passes basically back where it was just through the hole, and all that theming around there, through this little, you know, this little structure what they've made as a near miss element, and up into an airtime hill where you actually get quite a bit of airtime on there as it goes up into it. You know, see, already in this first section of the ride, there's so much going on. You know, you've got that anticipation of the drop itself, the effects in there, the Immelman, and then the near miss, and then into an airtime hill. So you've got a lot that happens all very, very close to each other. You know, and that would have been just a fantastic coaster in my opinion. It's like, I think Oblivion is great at Alton Towers, how it, you know, it goes through the hole for a few seconds before just curving out into that overbank to the left. You know, I really like that. So, you know, with this, there's just quite a lot to it in terms of all these different elements that happen straight away. But that isn't it, because following on from that near miss element and the airtime hill, you then go into a 270-degree helix that's actually quite high up as well. So, you know, it's not low down or directly above the land. You know, you're looking straight up to it. So, and when you're on ride, you're looking straight down, you know, which is, you know, it takes it quite slow at first and then builds up a little bit more momentum as it's going round. But yeah, that's quite an intense little helix actually that it does there, 270 degrees. And like I say, it makes it for me that it's quite high up and not above the ground directly. You know, I think that's quite nice how they did that, quite raised up. So yeah, 270-degree helix before it makes its way into the second inversion on the ride and the final element, which is a heartline roll, and it takes that at a beautiful speed. You get quite a bit of hang time on there actually. It doesn't go over it that fast at all. You know, just a really nice speed over that before making its way into the brake run. When you get into the brakes, the train makes its way back towards the station round to the right. However, you go through like a decontamination area. They've got these two posts attached to the side, and it's just like a bit of water spray, a bit of mist coming out, but it's like this decontamination that all fits with the story and the theme of this ride. The experience doesn't end there. You then make your way down into the gift shop, which is all in the same units, you know, in the station building. That's on the ground level, the station is on the upper level. And you're in this shop, very heavily themed, loads and loads of stuff going on, screens, all the orange chevrons, and that white and orange contrast continues. And then you back out into the area, you know, in there you've got like a big screen at the side. Like I say, there's a couple of other rides in the area as well. You can go on the observation tower and get some amazing views across Lake Garda and the whole area around around Oblivion The Black Hole. But you know, just the way that they've done it is fantastic. A couple more facts about the ride for you. In terms of the length of the track, it's got 1,856 feet of track, you know, and it's also got 62 miles an hour as its top speed on Oblivion The Black Hole. So, you know, it's a fast coaster. In places you can really feel it, and then the next minute you're going quite slow through that Heartline roll. So, you know, it's got a really nice mix with that. 1 minute you're going really fast, next minute you're going quite slow. You got some hang time, you got some air time, you got a really nice mix of elements into a really good dive coaster. One of my favourite dive coasters out there. So another reason why that is as well, because it's not got the vest harness. It's got that standard style of harness that B&M use. On some of the newer dive coasters, they've been putting the vests on, and they are not great at all. I mean, they've put them on some inverted coasters and all sorts now, but I'm not a big fan of them really, you know, because they do start to close in quite a bit. But yeah, you don't have that to worry about on Oblivion The Black Hole. It's got a sleek modern design, it's got a great storyline to it, and the overall area is fantastic. In terms of any improvements that I'd do to it, you know, I always feel that onboard audio would make some of these dive coasters. I think it would be fantastic having like a heartbeat playing as it was going up the lift hill and waiting on the precipice before going down. But other than that, you know, I can't fault the area at all. I think it's fantastic. It's a really good solid coaster. It's got a good length to it. So yeah, maybe just in terms of audio, it'd be nice to have had a bit of onboard audio for that. But you know, it's one of them things, it comes at a lot of cost, doesn't it? Adding on board audio, and it's not something that B&M really do, is it? You know, you don't really see it about loads on many coasters, especially B&M coasters. So, you know, it'd be good to see that be another route they could go down, actually, more of the immersive experience and adding audio. But the soundtrack's great for the ride in general. You know, it wasn't done by IMAscore or anything like that. It's got its own very unique sort of charm to it that's really nice, sort of builds up as you're getting closer to that station, and yeah, it's a really nice overall experience. And what more can I say? It's a brilliant ride at Gardaland, well worth going out there to check out. Of course, they've got some other great stuff as well. They've got a B&M Wing Coaster, the original Raptor, and I'll be doing a review on that at some point in the future, along with many other rides. Have you been to Italy and Gardaland and experienced Oblivion The Black Hole? Or maybe you're watching this because you're going for the first time. I would love to know your thoughts down below in the video comments. I'm Sean Sandbrook, thanks for joining me for another review here on Theme Park Worldwide, and that means it's time to cue those credits. See you in the next video.